Hey guys, happy Friday. We have made it to Friday. It's time for All-Jo Madden over here on Picks and Parlays. Now, we've got a great show for you today. Anton from Advanced Sports AI is going to stop in, as well as Tom Viola. We're going to go over some week 4 bets in Sunday as well as Monday's matchups. We're also going to look at the loaded slate out here in baseball. We're going to look at as well in college football today. So I've got a lot to go over with you guys. I'm excited for today's shows. Now, if you're looking for the best bets from any of the handicappers here on Picks and Parlays, do make sure you head on over to the YouTube station. You can go, or sorry, not the YouTube station, picksandparlays.net. Head on over there. You'll be able to find their premium picks over there. And while you're there, you want to make sure that you jump on some of the specials happening. I want to mention them from the top of the show because they're fantastic deals. Now, you've heard about the Weekend Warrior. The Weekend Warrior, you get every football play from the handicapper of your choice for just $49 for Saturday and Sunday. Those packages are available to buy now, and you want to jump on them before these lines move. The handicappers are putting them in today. You want to make sure you get the best of those lines. So only $49 for those Saturday and Sunday. No extra cost. You're going to get that Monday, the best bets on Monday as well from your handicapper. But there's also this deal, and this is a great deal. This Friday, grab a $7 best bet from all participating handicappers at Picks and Parlays at picksandparlays.net. So you want to jump on that as well, you guys. So we got that out of the way. When we go over these games, head on over to Odds Logic, open up your odds page there, or there's also one at picksandparlays.net. Click on the tab over there to get there. So looking at the matchups today, there's 12 games out there on the diamonds. We do have 3 college football games, and I think the big game for me at least is Florida State versus Virginia. I'm going to be going over this game. I do have a best bets in this game, as well as TCU versus Arizona State later in the show. So make sure you do stay around for that. Remember, at the end of the show, I'm going to do a recap of all of these games, everything that all of these handicappers are liking. So if you guys don't have time to stick around, and I hope you do for the next 40 minutes, you can definitely come back. But those 3 college football games today, we do have Florida State versus Virginia, TCU versus Arizona State, and then Houston versus Oregon State. So I've got some trends to go along with all of those games for you as well. And we do have X versus the books. We have this poll up, so I want you guys to head on over to X and get your bet in on today's poll. So today's poll, let me just pull it up for you and what we're looking at here. This is a bet on Sunday Night Football. And yes, we got to look ahead at Sunday Night Football because we got quite the game here. Sunday night, we'll have the Packers versus the Cowboys. Make sure you head on over and get those bets in. I want to see where X is sitting and where the books are sitting. Yesterday, we did see X win. So is X on the money today? We'll see what happens here. The Packers laying the 6.5 on Sunday Night Football. 42% of the love is coming in. And I understand why. Really hard to trust the defense of the Dallas Cowboys with the mess that we've seen thus far. And also that offense in the second half versus the Bears, man, that was disastrous last week. So we are seeing 18.8% of love for that Dallas Cowboys team there. The over sitting at 26%. At the 47.5 and the under sitting at only 13%. So head on over to X, get your bets in on that. Who hurt you yesterday? Well, this is never a fun part, talking about who hurt teams yesterday, who hurt your bets yesterday. If you're rolling with the over 43.5 in Thursday Night Football, definitely hurt. That was a crazy game. It was better than I expected, you guys. We know we sat here yesterday and I thought, wow, last night's game, I didn't expect it was going to be so highly exciting. And the first half wasn't, right? We rolled into the second half. I believe Seattle was up 14-3. It was a mess, a complete mess out there for the Arizona Cardinals. But then their defense started to come to play. They were able, I think a real pivotal swing in that game is when they were able to hold Sam Darnold in the offense, or the Seattle Seahawks, to only that field goal, not allowing that touchdown. And then we did have the missed field goal out there by the Seattle Seahawks as well. So there was some changes in momentum out there. The Arizona Cardinals rolled with that momentum. They were able to get that late touchdown to tie it up 20-20 apiece. It looked like that game was going to go into overtime. There was under a minute left on the clock, but the Seattle Seahawks were able to drive down the field and put that field goal on the board with seconds left on that clock and kicking that field goal, running out the clock. So they were able to get the win 23 or 23 to 20, so 43 points. So your question on who hurt you, if you had the over, it hurt. If you had the under, you are absolutely sweating it to the bitter end, because that fear of going into overtime and the touchdown coming up on the board would have been there. So the over 43.5, I know it killed parlays out there. We were so close to getting it. And then anyone who did a ladder with me, I did lay the 1.5 with the Seattle Seahawks. I laid the 2.5, but then I did do 6.5 and a 9.5, thinking they could win by double digits. It looked like it was going to come to fruition when we were sitting there. Now, we did have those games out there on the diamonds where you saw some underdogs get the wins yesterday, but you did see a lot of favorites covering those spreads as well. We did see Seattle win on that run line 6-2 over Colorado yesterday. The Toronto Blue Jays were able to get a nice big win as a -129 favorite. But those games that would have hurt you would have been if you were rolling with Cleveland versus Detroit. They weren't able to pull out the win. Detroit winning that one 4-2. You also saw the Phillies not cover the run line there. They only won at 1-0 over Miami. And then there was one more big dog that was able to get the win. Yeah, the Minnesota Twins, they were able to win 4-0 over the Texas Rangers. They weren't that big of a dog on that money line at only +128, but still impactful game for them there. So that's who hurt you yesterday. Oh, and then Army, man, I tell you, if you were looking at Army yesterday versus East Carolina, that was disastrous. East Carolina coming out so strong in the first quarter, 21 unanswered points in the first quarter. If you were backing an over, you look like you were absolutely set yesterday. Well, that over did not come to play. We saw the first half and 21-0. We cashed the under 27.5. So that was a win for us here. If you followed the full game, stayed under the 53. East Carolina easily covered those points. So it was a bad day for Army. I tell you, they've got to do some improvements at stopping the run. They've got to be able to win those turnover battles. They're having those struggles out there. But it's time, you guys. We're going to bring on Anton here from Advanced Sports AI. See what he's liking and his thoughts on last night's games. Anton, welcome to the show. Hang on, Anton. There you go. I had you muted. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last night's game, Thursday night football, the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. I didn't think it was going to be a matchup that was going to be exciting at all. Did you have high hopes going into last night's game, and how are the models looking at it?
Yeah, the model looked pretty solid to us to take Arizona in the points. And so that's what we were recommending. We still think it was the right prediction. And so we liked what our model did. Overall, the percentage that the model came up with for the confidence was a little on the lower side. I guess that's the only area that we would have a little bit of concern. But still, there was definite signal there that Arizona would really take advantage of the points. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, but that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, it absolutely came down to the wire. One mistake on that last drive out of Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks, and you would have been sitting here today with a game that would have gone into overtime and could have been a totally different outcome. So I completely hear what you're saying on that. It is week 4. Last night kicked off week 4. How have you done thus far on the season, Anton?
Well, we're doing pretty well, especially week 2. Week 1 was just kind of strange. And it's always, week 1 always makes us nervous. So week 3 was mixed. After all, there were 5 games with really exciting but unpredictable results. So that's what's going to happen. You're going to end up with mixed results. We had Arizona +2, which worked out really well for us at San Francisco. So that was a real solid win for us, and the model was very confident about that one. So, but it wasn't a runaway for Arizona by any means. So we like that. We also hit with Detroit +5 at Baltimore. I was nervous just because you never know with two explosive quarterbacks going at it on Monday night, so the base our model really delivered, covering right in line with the numbers. And then on the totals, it was kind of a walk away for us with Indy, Tennessee. We had over 43.5. They scored 61 points. That was great, no sweat. And then Dallas, Chicago under 50.5. And the baseline model, again, had a high confidence prediction for that. And it worked out. Psychologically, I think the unders are always a little more nerve-wracking, but that worked out. And then Denver and the Chargers just slipped under. Our numbers had the over, but overall we had two strong calls on the point totals. We also had Rams +4, so we were in that camp. But again, in retrospect, our team feels that was absolutely the right call. And so we loved what our model did there. And if we had to do it again, that's what we would do.
And that's always the best thing coming out of a game. If you had to bet it again, would you go the same way? And if you're saying you can, I think that is a win for sure. So we're looking at week 4 here. We've got one game under wraps. We've got some big games this Sunday. I want to know, I know it's not one of your best bets, but any thoughts here on my LA Chargers off 3 divisional wins, now facing a team in the New York Giants who no one has hopes for? They're a 6.5-point favorite rolling into New York, and they're just in a bad spot, in my opinion. Is the model saying anything conclusively yet?
The model is super close. The model says that the Chargers are really going to flirt with that 9-10 margin. And I think, isn't that right about where the line is, the prevailing line is about now?
Yeah, so, we're seeing 6.5s out there now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So Chargers by 10.
Wow.
So
wow. I hope so. I really hope
happens.
The model is right on that, because I'm going to be one happy Chargers fan. I know for myself, I can't put them in my survivor picks. I can't do anything else because I want to break my heart or break my survivor this week if they do lose. But it's going to be an interesting matchup there. I know there's some other games that you're really looking into. I want to say hi to everyone jumping into the chat. Appreciate you guys being here today. Kev, thank you for being here. Drop those questions, drop those comments in the chat. If you got questions for Anton based on what your questions are on the modeling and how he comes about it, make sure you do drop those questions as well, and we'll try to get to those. But let's look, Anton, at some of these games that you're really liking this weekend, what the model is liking this weekend.
Yeah, sure. And before I get to that, I just want to say, for those of you who haven't heard me on here before and maybe haven't seen what we do on Picks and Parlays, I just want to say that we have a team of data scientists, applied mathematicians, and software engineers who have been working together. We've been working together for almost 5 years. I've been working with students and others for over 8 years on this AI-driven model. It's not generative AI, if you're familiar with that term. In other words, it's not ChatGPT. We don't enter prompts into ChatGPT. It's very mathematical. It's very hierarchical. It's multiple steps that we've put together over several years, working with some of the best folks in the industry to come up with what we have today. So if you're looking for rigorous, mathematical, scientific, very tailored results based on a system that was built for this, we're the ones. So speaking of the model, this weekend, there are a couple of really interesting phenomena that are happening in 2 of the games. Our model has, for instance, Cleveland at Detroit projected to score a total of 56 points. The model doesn't do that often, as if ever. And my eyes almost popped out of my head when I saw that, because that's really an anomaly, considering that I think the line is around 44. That's really something. The issue we have, to be completely rigorous, is that there aren't very many games that are similar to this that have happened over the past even 7 seasons, where there's such a discrepancy between the Vegas line and our model. So I think it's really worth looking at. I think it's, it depends on one's appetite for risk, but that is really something to look at more deeply.
Okay,
I guess the down. Go ahead.
Yeah, just quick question on that. If the model's saying 56 and we're seeing that total sitting 44, 44 and a half, would you suggest to people this could be a laddering situation where you're not just betting that number to the over, maybe you're taking it and putting an alt line out there, Anton?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think if it were me, I would probably hedge a little bit, because when you have a lopsided situation, which we expect, despite what Cleveland did last week, if you have what you think will be a lopsided situation, Detroit could win 40 to 3 or something like that. And that wouldn't be good. So there's always that possibility. So, you might want to hedge a little bit, but 40 to 14, 35, 10, things like that, are not out of the question. But seeing 56 is really, just really pops out. And then the other one that also popped out, and this was really surprising to have 2 of these in 1 week when we seldom see them, is Washington at Atlanta. The model has them scoring a total of 52 points, and the prevailing line is about 45. So that's another one where, and these 2 teams might be more likely to go at it, and you might see over 50 points even before the fourth quarter. So it could be that kind of game. So I think that those are, for point totals, those are two games to definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah, those are 2 great games to keep an eye on there. You can see a lot of points. Still question marks around if Jaden Daniels will be in the lineup for the Washington Commanders. I haven't heard a yes or a no. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Marcus Mariota. Does the model build in injuries?
It does. Yeah, especially for the quarterback, of course. So,
wonderful.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you've got one more game that you want to jump into, the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. This is Monday night football here.
Yeah, and why not? I think it's going to be. Personally, I like to watch games where the teams are really bad as much as I like to watch games where the teams are really good, because you never know what's going to happen. So, there's some quarterback question with the Jets, although I think Justin Fields, it looks, as of this morning, looks like he's going to make it through the concussion protocol. And so that would be good. So all else being equal, the model says take the Jets and the points and see what happens.
Ooh, the Jets and the points and see what happens. I hope the Jets are able to come out nice and strong in that matchup versus Miami. I have no faith in the Miami Dolphins. There are struggles there. I think Mike McDaniels is a walking dead man out there for a head coach. Does your model do anything for head coaches in their length of Tennessee? Because I don't know if he's going to make it much longer.
I don't know that there's a model out there that can predict the career trajectory for head coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be pretty impressive if there was something out there. But how long do you personally think Mike McDaniels has left as a head coach?
From what I've been reading, I think that I think there's a good chance that he's not going to make it through the season, but that's just my opinion, not backed by science at all.
I didn't think you'd make it through last season. That's for sure. Okay, you guys. So looking at Anton's best bets, Advanced Sports AI, we're going to look here at Cleveland, the Browns versus the Detroit Lions over the 44, 44 and a half. The model predicting right around that 56 mark. The Washington Commanders and the Atlanta Falcons over 45, 45 and a half. Again, the model predicting right around the 52. And the model also, Anton, telling us to grab the Jets plus the points and hold on for dear life.
Let's go crazy.
Absolutely. Let's go crazy out there. Anton, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, I know you're part of the Weekend Warrior package. We also have the $7 best bets up for Friday. What have you got for sale over on picksandparlays.net? What's included in your packages today?
Well,
this weekend?
I'm glad you asked, Joe, because I think we have a really good package for this weekend. we decided, given our results, our previous results, we thought, well, we could bump things up because it's like wine, the good stuff costs more. But we have, as it turns out, we have made a lot of money for someone who in turn has been very generous to us. We want to share that. And so you can take our entire weekend package for $29 this week.
Wow, that's an absolute incredible deal out there, Anton. You guys head on over to picksandparlays.net to grab that deal. Advanced Sports AI. Anton, all the best this weekend in your week 4 bets.
Thank you.
Thank
You too, Joe. Take care.
Thank you. Okay, you guys head on over to picksandparlays.net to grab Anton's packages. Like he said, he's got that package for $29. You can also look over there on those Friday packages. This Friday, grab a $7 best bet from all your participating handicappers over on picksandparlays.net. There's also the Weekend Warrior running, and this one is a lot of fun, you guys. Just $49. Saturday and Sunday bets from the handicapper of your choice for just $49. They're also going to throw in Mondays. Now we're going to have a quick look at that poll that we're running over on X versus the books, you guys. I always want to see who's going to make money, the books or the public. Now, X versus the books, I'm not going to put up the graphic because those numbers have changed. We're seeing a slight movement only, though, in the bets where you guys are putting your best bets on Sunday Night Football between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. 43% of the love coming for the Packers laying the points. The Cowboys getting 17%. The over coming in at 25% of people liking the over 47.5, and that under at 13.5%. So interesting to see. Again, X won yesterday, you guys. So if you believe X is going to win again, right now it would be the over and the Packers. Interesting one. I don't know if I could trust the Cowboys to put that many points up on the board. Maybe it will be the Packers and their team total. Let me know what you guys think of betting the individual team totals of those teams out there. And also the player props, what you're liking for this Sunday. I'm seeing you guys jumping in. I see so many of you guys watching over on my X. If you guys want to come on over to YouTube and not just watch and hang out there on X, come on over to YouTube on Picks and Parlays, and you'll be able to interact in the live chat over here. And I want to talk to you guys this morning. I'm going to bring in Tom Viola right away. We're going to talk about some of these games for this weekend and see what he's like. And Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, Joe, it's great to be here with you again. How's it going?
It's going good. Now, do you like to go by Thomas more so than Tom?
Tom is perfectly fine.
Tom is fine. Okay, let's jump into first your thoughts last night. Last night, I thought it was going to be a snooze fest. It came down to the wire. I wasn't expecting that. Were you?
I mean, yeah, we were talking a little bit before last call went live last night. And yeah, you were saying it's going to be a snooze fest. I was like, I don't know. It's two pretty match teams, divisional game. I was thrilled because I managed to somehow sneak in on the first quarter over 7.5. We got lucky covering that before the end of the first quarter, man. I scoreless with 4 minutes left. I was like, well, this bet's chalked. And by some miracle, we got there. And then I also just had Michael Wilson over 2.5 receptions. That hit on that last Cardinals drive there. I mean, I like the Seahawks more than the Cardinals. I think they're a better team, but they just simply did not put them away. They had so many chances. What up, Rye? It's good to see you. And they just had so many chances to put them away and just didn't. And that's what emblematic of the Seahawks team to me. I think they're good. I think they're going to win a good deal of games this year. I don't think they're one of those upper echelon teams that's going to really make noise and be a threat in the playoffs.
Now, we did see better connections between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray. So does that take away a lot of the talk that we're getting? Because a lot of people are coming in saying Harrison Jr., he's just not that receiver that Kyler Murray needs. Are you dropping a little bit of that talk last night? He did have 6 receptions. He was able to put up those yards, 1 touchdown. What are your thoughts on him?
I mean, the whole first half, everyone was talking about how terrible he is. Oh, what a bust. This is awful. And then he finishes with a perfectly fine stat line. I think Kyler Murray is more of the problem in Arizona than Marvin Harrison. I also think that he's young and he's got a lot of time to develop into a better receiver. We've seen a lot of rookie receivers come out the gate and be amazing over the last several years, but it doesn't mean that somebody can't come into the role over the course of a couple seasons of maturing and developing in the league. Is he maybe not worth the draft capital that was invested in him? Has he not lived up to the hype so far? Sure, he hasn't. But I don't think that necessarily means that he's going to be that he's going to be a bust or that he can't continue to improve. And like you said, he finished with just a fine stat line anyway. And as Rye's pointing out, the Cardinals' offensive line is not very good.
Yeah, it is not very good at all. Look at how many times Kyler Murray was sacked last night. You look at that, and it was just left, right, and center. The defense there of the Seattle Seahawks was getting to him. So that offensive line needs to make adjustments for sure. I was just glad I got some of those sack props coming in. And I do think looking at this weekend, there's some defensive props that we can play again. And I love those defensive props out there. Tom, is that something you ever look at as the defensive side of things? And the pick sixes, the sacks, the forced interceptions?
I don't quite look at pick sixes and sacks, but I do look at a lot of interceptions. When we do our prop show with Derek Carty at noon Pacific here over on Wager Talk, we like to give out a kind of a bouquet of of quarterback interception props. Usually it's a lot of unders. We've got one over this week, but it is very much one of those things where you're kind of saying, okay, the odds on this should be closer to a coin flip, and they simply aren't, and that's what makes it a good bet. Something I really like to look at is bad ball percentage. How many times is a quarterback chucking up potentially interceptable balls here? And you kind of see it in the difference, I like to point it out, between Jameis Winston and Patrick Mahomes. All Patrick Mahomes is Jameis Winston if every single one of Jameis's bad ideas actually worked. He statistically has been one of the luckiest quarterbacks with dropped interceptions over the course of his career. And it's things like that where you want to look at it. You want to say, okay, statistically, he's more likely to throw an interception than he is not to. And I'm getting yes at like plus money, things like that. It works the same way with a quarterback who you think, okay, well, he's probably going to throw an interception, but his no is priced at plus 150 and it really should be plus 110. And that's what makes it a good bet.
As a Chargers fan, all I took away was Mahomes is just a lucky Jameis Winston, and that is going to be like written in a notebook for sure, Tom. I love that quote. Let's start looking at the weekend ahead. It's going to be a great Sunday of games. We got some big matchups, a big Sunday night football game. We got a doubleheader on Monday. We also have the game in Ireland. I want to know your thoughts on that Ireland game if you have any. It's going to be interesting because we know the travel weighs on these teams, the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers. There are talks that Aaron Rodgers is sitting in a pub having a beer, drinking his Guinness, which I don't blame him. If I went over to Ireland, even if I had a game in a couple of days, I'd have a quick beer. That's for sure. Maybe not a couple, but we do have a line of 2.5 on that one with the Vikings being the favorite. Total of 40.5. Any early takes on that? Will you be getting up to watch this game? I definitely will.
I mean, it's a little bit tougher here on the West Coast for me to be up for that one. I speak as a soccer fan. It is a struggle trying to watch European games over there, because it's like 6 a.m. for me. What is it? It's a 9 a.m. kickoff for you, right?
No, 8:30 for me.
8:30. I mean,
no. Sorry, it is 9:30 Eastern, so that's 7:30 my time. So 6:30 your time.
Yeah,
that's early.
It's rough. Like I'm used to 10 a.m. kickoff for the normal slate, which by the way, I was in Atlanta last weekend. Oh my God. How do you people live on the East Coast? It's 11 a.m. and I'm like, football is nowhere close to starting for the day. This is terrible. I love my 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 5 p.m. Like the late game's wrapped up by 8:30. You can do whatever you want. Give me Pacific time all day. But in terms of the actual game, both teams are arriving at the same time, so I'm not as worried about the travel end of things. I will say I think that the Steelers are a little bit overrated by a lot of people based on their early season performances. I'm trying not to give the Vikings too much credit because, yes, Carson Wentz played really well and they were able to put up a ton of points on the Bengals, but we all knew that the Bengals defense was bad going into this season. So it's not like they were a team that I really wanted to be high on anyway. That being said, I've got the Vikings rated just a skosh higher than the Steelers, even with the quarterback change. I'm personally inclined to lean Vikings in this game. I like the under more than anything. I think both of these offenses could struggle, and you could really see both of these teams come out here and put up a 17-10 kind of game over in Dublin.
Yeah, you definitely could see that. That total sitting at 40.5 minus 108 to the over. And I think if you like the under, I would wait. I think money's probably going to come in on the over. People are going to see the points Carson Wentz was able to put up last week and the faith in Aaron Rodgers that people do have, thinking that he'll get some points. So I would wait on that number. But like I said, it's going to be a loaded day. What games do you have circled out there, Tom? I know you've got your prop show coming up. Any like quick little sneak previews in any of those props as well?
Oh, we have a ton. We have a ton of props. Last week we had something like 16 props. I think this week we have 20 to talk about. And then of course we're always answering everybody's questions in the chat as well. So feel free to hop in there, throw your questions in. I will say one that I was able to bet yesterday. Sports betting is illegal in Las Vegas, so I had to drive out to Arizona to place bets last night. Couldn't get cell reception. There was a storm. And so I'm just leaving so much on the board right now. I'm debating trying to make a drive back out there today, but I know that all the ones that we're going to be talking about on the show are going to be gone by then. Yeah. I really like that Bill Krosky Merritt under in rushing yards. Ooh. That's one we're going to be talking about today for sure. Everybody hyped him up in the preseason, and I don't think any of the hype was really worth it here. As far as games that I'm particularly looking at, first off, I've got an Atlanta +1 right now that is really popping on my screen. Atlanta money line's also probably going to be good based on that, but Atlanta +1 and -108 I'm seeing on my screen right now. That's showing a good bet. I think fair value on this game right now is -1.5 at -103. And then I also really, really, really like the Rams this week. I'm probably going to end up on some alt Rams spreads, like a -7.5. I already have the -3.5 at -105. That number has not moved all week long. I think the Colts are an overrated team. I think they're a team that has benefited from a very, very easy schedule so far. And I think that now they have to go and play one of the actual big boys. And all of a sudden, everybody's going to be like, where did Daniel Jones go? And we're going to remember what the real Daniel Jones looks like.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that too. I expected it even last week. I have never been a big believer in Daniel Jones. And I say that and I look at the improvements, the offensive line in front of him, the coaching. Maybe this is his step up like we did see out of Sam Darnold last year with the Vikings. But I can't see another Cinderella story this year with Daniel Jones where he just continues to run so hot out there. It's got to be the Rams, right? Like the Rams laying the 3.5. Are you really confident in them? Like, is this kind of a game where you just think they destroy the Colts, or is this one going to come like a tighter game, but still cover?
I think this game isn't going to be very close. I think the Rams are a legitimate Super Bowl team. I was all ready to dive in on Rams futures. And then we had that preseason scare of how will Matt Stafford's back hold up? And he's getting epidurals. And then I was like, ooh, okay, maybe not. But looking around at the rest of this division, yeah, the 49ers are 3-0, but they're already a mash unit, and those injuries are going to catch up to them eventually. I don't trust the Cardinals at all. The Seahawks are better than I expected to be. I thought Sam Darnold would struggle with the Seahawks, given the fact that they are not the Vikings. They don't have that offensive line. And like, I'm a Sam Darnold truther. From day one with the Jets, I was like, he is the prince who was promised. Like, he's the guy. And seeing him with the Vikings and seeing him ball out up until the end there, I was like, yes, this is the quarterback that he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
He's showing off a little bit on the Seahawks that he very much has that, and it wasn't all that system. But none of these teams are anywhere near the level of the Rams. Like, they're going to win this. I think they're going to win this division. I don't think that the 49ers are going to be able to hold up with them. And I like the Rams to maybe make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, there's a bunch of NFC teams that could make it there, but they're one team that I'm absolutely looking at.
Okay, looking there. Love coming in for Daniel Jones. It's interesting. I always like when I'm looking at these quarterbacks to go in and look at their props. Their passing touchdowns. Matthew Stafford for over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So highly juiced, -168. Now, last night, Sam Darnold wasn't able to go over the 1.5. It was coming in at +162. We're seeing kind of numbers like that for Daniel Jones tonight. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns for that game on Sunday, coming in at +182. I don't know, because we know Jonathan Taylor is going to be running that ball. We know we've seen Daniel Jones use his legs. I don't know if Daniel Jones could get there, but Stafford, do you think that's a fair number on the over 1.5? Do you think those touchdowns will be coming through the air? Because at minus 168, I can't bet it, but do you think the books have the right number?
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, I'd be inclined to go over there, even at minus 168. He's going to be like, they're a team that can attack in a lot of different ways, but I could see them airing the ball out early and being able to rack up some points here.
Okay, I like where you're going. Anything else that you've got for us? Maybe the Sunday night game or the Monday night game? Any quick leans?
I'm going to be on the Jets yet again. It's burned me
Okay.
the last 2 weeks. I mean, week 2, it's not my Jets fandom. It's not being a homer. Week 2, it was every fake sharp. The fake sharp play was, oh, Jets +7. And I'm sitting there like, okay, the line moved to 6.5. I got the 7. This was a good bet. And then they go out and get destroyed by Buffalo, which is always what was going to happen anyway. And then last week against Tampa, I'm looking at the game and I'm simply saying they shouldn't be 2-1. Like they shouldn't be 2-1 on the money line. And quite frankly, I feel I was right. The game came right down to the wire. I was right there, but of course, bet doesn't get over. And then this week, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, yes, Jets +3. Like this team is not a dumpster fire. It's close to being one. It's always close to being one, but the Dolphins are an actual dumpster fire. And for that reason, I think the Jets are simply a better team, and they're going to have more success against a truly bad team like the Dolphins. I think the Jets are in that second tier of like not good, but not complete. To compare the Dolphins to a college quarterback, they are General Booty.
True. It's so true. I like where you're going with there. Anton's model as well, Advanced AI Sports, does like the Jets plus the points. So I think the three of us are complete in agreement with the Jets. I think they can win it straight up. I don't trust Miami at all, even at home, even with Mike McDaniels, knowing that he's walking a tight line. So I think it's a great one. Thomas, you've got a show coming up pretty quick. Where can people catch it?
That's right. People can catch it over on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Prop culture. We're talking player props for week 4 with Derek Carty of EV Analytics. We're 19-18 so far in the season, up 4.5 units. So we will gladly take that ROI to start off. It was a slow week 1, but we have bounced back with some really strong weeks 2 and 3, and we're hoping to keep it going. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at TV at Work.
Nicely done. Thank you so much for joining us here on All-Jo Madden on Picks and Parlays.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. You guys make sure you do go on over and give that show a follow. It's going to be a good show later in the day. So check it out. Top of the hour. People coming in, Jets on the money line or ulting the points. I do think the Jets have every ability. I just don't believe in the Miami Dolphins. So I think that's a really solid way to go. You guys, we still have a lot of stuff to go over. There's a ton of action out there on the diamonds. There's also 3 college football games. I do have a picks for you in 2 of the college football games. I have trends to go over as well. I wanted to talk a couple of these games, and I love coming at you with some of those trends, and I don't know if that's something you guys would like for a full segment, looking at those trends, looking at where things are. When we look at week 4, after what we saw last night with Kyler Murray and Sam Darnold, there was 2 passing touchdowns for Kyler Murray, 1 for Sam Darnold. So I like looking at the weekly leaderboards. We can start putting that into the show, looking at Mondays, those weekly leaders. Just let me know what you're hoping to find over here. We saw Sam Darnold throw for 242 passing yards last night and 200 out of Kyler Murray. So Kyler Murray having a much better game with his arm than we had seen thus far on the season. So if you had Jackson Smith-Njigba, I forgot to mention this at the top of the show, for who hurt you, he hurt you with his receiving yards. He hit 79, you guys. That number was 79.5. That was painful. Marvin Harrison Jr., though, having that step up, 66 receiving yards in last night's game. And Trey McBride looking stronger as well, 52 receiving yards. But that does come down to Kyler Murray and his ability to get that ball moving. Kyler Murray was able to rush for 41 yards last night. So if you took him over the 29.5 here with me and Sean Higgs last night, you were able to cash on that. So that was a really nice bet from the show. Kenneth Walker did lead for the Seattle Seahawks with 81 rushing yards. Sam Darnold finished with 24, and Trey Benson, who took over for James Conner, was able to put up 35 rushing yards in yesterday's game. Let's get into tonight's college football games. You guys, I know you want the picks. We're looking at 3 different college football games out there. Let's look at Florida State versus Virginia first. Now, this one, Florida State is a 6.5-point favorite on the road. This total floating right around that 59.5. This is a matchup in the ACC, and I do think as long as Virginia doesn't try to play a shootout style game here with Florida State, they have every ability to keep this one tight. I'm taking Virginia plus the 6.5. I'm not going to take them straight up on the money line, you guys. I worry about them getting the win. But I think if you look at them here, plus the points at plus 102, it is a solid way to go. They're at home. They have the home edge here in this one. And we look at Virginia. This is their 4th year under Tony Elliott. They've got an outstanding running game with running back Jamari Taylor. He's rushed for over 298 rushing yards thus far on the season and 6 touchdowns. He's been so strong. He's the key to their offense to get that ball moving. Tonight, he has a prop of 60.5 for his rushing yards, and I will be taking that to the over, expecting him to hit right around 80 rushing yards. Again, Virginia can't get in a shootout here with Florida State. They're going to have to slow things down. They're going to have to use Taylor on the ground to run that ball and to be able to slow the clock here and keep Florida State off the field. Florida State has an elite quarterback there in Tommy Castellanos, and he's really looked dynamic out there on the field. This team is averaging over 58 points per game. Their quarterback has thrown for 594 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He's also dual threat, you guys. He's rushed for 139 yards and 3 scoring touchdowns on the ground. So this is going to be a back and forth battle between these 2 teams. I do think it's one, though, Virginia's going to have to look to come out strong defensively, control the clock, and keep Florida State and their elite quarterback off the field. So I'll grab Virginia plus the 6.5. I will look at Jamari Taylor, their running back, over a 60.5 rushing yards as well. He is going to be key in this game. Then we got TCU at Arizona State. Now, Arizona State is a 2.5-point favorite in this one. We've got an over-under of 54.5. These teams, really interesting, you guys. If you know the last time they met, well, I'm sure it's before most of us were born. The last time they met was 1975. So it's been such a long time. This is a Big 12 matchup here, and it's going to be impactful for playoffs, for everything out there. So I'm looking at this one. I think it stays competitive here. TCU has every ability, and they're strong in this one. I see you guys putting the comments up here. You don't run the ball against the Noles defense. Yeah, it's going to be hard to run the ball, but I think it's the only way they're going to be able to get it done. Okay, let me get my banner up here, you guys. It's sometimes hard going between tabs when you guys comment. So looking at TCU, it's TCU plus 2.5. It's coming in at minus 110. I think they're the better team. I trust their defense more than I do Arizona State. Now, we look here at the quarterbacks, and I do have a lot of faith in Josh Hoover. I know he's had some struggles on the season. He's got a prop of 275.5. I do think he goes over that number. Now, he's thrown for at least 280.5 in every game. And he's been strong out there in different capacities, but we've seen some mistakes and some stress out of him. And I do think you look at him, his running back is banged up. Barnes, I think with his running back banged up, he's going to be forced in the situation where he passes. Now, Arizona State has a dual threat quarterback out here, Sam Levitt, and I do look at Sam Levitt, and I love what he's able to do with his legs. I'll be taking Sam Levitt for the rushing touchdown. It's coming in at plus 120, but I have to look at Josh Hoover over the 275.5 passing yards here for TCU. I think even though it's a short week, I know TCU is headed out west, and they're off that big emotional win, that this team will be ready to take on Arizona State. They can't look past Arizona State here, and I don't think they will. This is going to be a great game. I think we've got some really great Friday night games. So in these two, for my best bets in college football. Give me Virginia plus the 6.5 at plus 102 versus Florida State. Jamari Taylor over 60.5 rushing yards at minus 114. TCU plus the 2.5 at minus 110 at Arizona State. Now, if I'm taking TCU plus the 2.5, you guys, it's because I think they can win this. I think they are the stronger team out there. Give me Josh Hoover over 275.5 passing yards at minus 114 and Sam Levitt for the rushing touchdown for Arizona State at plus 120. That total is pretty interesting, you guys, sitting right around the 54.5. I could see it just sneaking right in there on that number. I do think this is a game that has every ability for this one to be able to go to overtime as well. I think it's back and forth battle that is that tight. So it's going to be an interesting one between these two teams. The last game, I've got some trends for you in the last game, and I do have trends for you in the other games if you want it. Let's first talk this last game, the trends. I'm not taking a bet in this one. I don't want to lay the 13.5 with Houston at Oregon, but I also don't want to take Oregon State, plus the 13.5. I'm uneasy on the side. Oregon State's failed to cover the spread in each of their last 8 games against non-AP ranked teams. So that is one of the trends that it does weigh into consideration when you're looking at these games. 10 of Houston's last 11 September road games against non-AP ranked teams have gone over the total in points. I do think if anything, it would probably be that total. I would look at that total sitting at 47.5 between Houston and Oregon State. I could see us getting really tight to that. I would expect 49 points in this game. So when I ran my numbers, I looked at this one slightly going to that over, but really not having a good feel on if Oregon State was going to be able to, 1, put up their share of the points, and 2, if Houston was going to put up enough points to, 1, cover that spread, and then 2, push us to the over. So it was a stay off for me in this one, but some other trends that we were looking at in those earlier games, if you guys want the trends, between Florida State and Virginia, the favorite has covered the spread in each of Virginia's last 7 games. Something to note, they have been the favorite in a lot of those cases. They're a 6.5 point dog now. 10 of Florida State's last 11 games against conference opponents have gone under the total points. So that one's sitting at 59.5. If we get off to a hot start, I do think a live betting situation when this one gets into the 60s, but before it gets into the 60s, I just can't touch it to the under. I could see this being another game where if Virginia does what I expect them to do and keep this within that number plus the 6.5, like I'm betting, that we just sneak over this total. I think if you like Virginia, you would look for this one to stay more to the under, though, right? Like that tight game where we're not allowing Florida State to really run up that score. Florida State has been so solid offensively, like we talked about, though, you guys. So Virginia has to come out really strong defensively. They have to keep pace with Florida State, which means they're going to have to slow things down. The trends for TCU and Arizona State, 9 of Arizona State's last 10 September games against AP-ranked teams have gone under that total points. That one, again, sitting at 54.5. Arizona State has covered the spread in each of their last 7 games against conference opponents, and Arizona State has won its last 9 games in Arizona. So this is a team that is very strong at home. But those are the trends. Quickly, let's just have a sneak look here at baseball for today. It's Friday. There's a loaded day out there on the diamonds, you guys. So let me know firstly what you're liking out there on the diamonds. Anything to really jump off the page for me right now? I do think the Yankees are the right side versus the Baltimore Orioles, with Warren getting the start. Warren coming in is pretty solid on the season for their starting pitcher. My problem here with that is you're looking at paying like minus 150 for the Yankees. We know we always have to pay a premium for them. We also have to pay that premium for the Phillies. The Phillies today taking on the Minnesota Twins. Nola getting the start there. And Nola, I know his numbers aren't looking great. Aaron Nola with a 6.49 ERA versus Joe Ryan and the Minnesota Twins, who has a 3.41 ERA. Could the Twins pull off another upset? Well, if they didn't come out and get that big win 4-0 yesterday, I might be taking a little bit of chance on the Minnesota Twins, but I don't think they get it done. So I think for your public parlay. It would be the Phillies and the Yankees just to get it done. Both of those teams sitting at right around that minus 150 for their favorites. Now, Toronto will face the Tampa Bay Rays today. Toronto at home in this one, giving the start to Shane Bieber. Shane Bieber, I really like what we've seen out of him. He's got a 3.60 ERA versus Hauser there. Now, when we look at Bieber, I think he's going to stay in this game long enough to be able to get his strikeouts on the board. He had 4 strikeouts in his last game versus Kansas City, 5 versus Baltimore, 4 versus Houston. Now, his prop today, I'm just going to pull it up here. I'm pretty sure he's coming in at a 5.5. You guys, I want to double check those numbers for Shane Bieber here for the Toronto Blue Jays. His pitcher prop market here is coming in. It is 6.5. Over 6.5 strikeouts for Shane Bieber coming in at plus 110. I could see him getting there. It is a little risky that he hits that number of 6. His outs today, though, let's see if we're able to get Shane Bieber for his outs. I'm not getting it right now, you guys. Early in the day, sometimes we're not able to get all of these bets, but I do think looking at Shane Bieber for those outs would be a nice way to go. His last time versus the Kansas City Royals, even though he was only able to put 4 strikeouts on the board, he was able to record 19 outs. Versus the Baltimore Orioles, 18 outs and 5 strikeouts, and versus the Houston Astros, 17 outs and 4. So if he's able to come in here and give us a number of over 17.5, I do think it's definitely a strong way to go. Why looking at TCU money line? TCU money line is very tempting today. If I'm grabbing them plus a 2.5, it is because I think they're able to get things done straight up in that game. Other than Toronto here and Shane Bieber, there are some home dogs. You've got the Miami Marlins, a home dog versus the New York Mets with Alcantara getting the start. I do think that is a solid home dog to look at today. You're also seeing Yodavish versus Zach Gallen. Arizona on the road at San Diego. I do think that's going to be a great game, especially a low-scoring one. Now, I know Zach Gallen and Yodavish, looking at them overall, you're seeing higher ERAs, a 4.72 ERA for Zach Gallen. You're seeing Yodavish rolling in with a 5.51. I think they're able to keep it under this number. This is Friday night action. We got 9:40 Eastern start for this game and a total of 7.5. I'd be looking at this one staying under the 7.5 here, you guys. I think both of these pitchers are going to be able to come out nice and strong. I just want to give you Yodavish's numbers at home because when you look at that overall ERA, it is a 2.83. He has had some games where it's floated up like those last 3, and that's where it stands out. The last 3, it's gone up to 3.38. His night game record, outstanding. 6 innings pitched, so it was only the one game, a 1.50 night ERA. At home, he's gone 7-6 with a 2.69 ERA. 124 innings pitched, and he's been able to record 158 strikeouts. I do think he's going to be able to control the bats today. So there's great value there. Looking at this one to go under the 7.5. When we look at Zach Allen's numbers, you guys, Zach Allen coming off a really strong performance versus the Phillies. He was able to get 9 strikeouts in that game versus the Phillies and 21 outs. You're also looking at Zach Allen at his away record a little high, right? At 4.85, but in those night games, he's able to drop it just slightly. At the last 3, he's been able to drop that number to 4.12 as well. I do have faith in Zach Allen to continue to come out hot, as well as Yodavish to play a nice strong game in this one, and for us to stay under the 7.5. Now, we know extra innings are where games go to die, and that's one thing that does scare me about this. If this is the game that is as low scoring as I expected, could we see extra innings between these two teams? We absolutely could. I think I'd look at a first 5, and I'm just trying to pull those numbers up for you. With 15 games on the slate, sometimes easier said than done. Let me just find this matchup here between the Arizona Diamondbacks, San Diego Padres. The first 5 innings, we do have a total coming in at 4.5. The under 4.5, highly juiced at minus 138. So if you're willing to lay that kind of juice, I think it's a good way to go. if I'm liking an under, if I'm liking the pitchers to come out nice and strong, you guys, I'm betting the no runs in the first inning, the Nerfy coming in at -118. Give me the Nerfy, give me the under 4.5, and give me the game under 7.5 in this one. We mentioned it, and as soon as I mention it, I gotta bet it. You guys, I'm gonna sprinkle on the extra innings in this game coming in at +720 only. Wow, the books are protecting that one. The last time I took an extra inning bet, it was +950 for one of these games. So +720 for extra innings in this matchup. You guys, I appreciate you so much for being here. Good numbers versus Gallen. His home run prop. That's a nice way to go, Steve. I like where you're going with that home run prop. +100 over at Bet365. Nice way. Indiana is a monster in the weeds. Iowa, then the Ducks. Look out for the Hoisters. Yeah. All the best in all of your bets, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here on All-Jo Madden on Picks and Parlays. Long show. I just wanted to go over a couple of things. Let me know what you guys are wanting from the show. You guys tune in every day. I appreciate you so much. We'll be back Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you do join me. Until then, stay hot. Let's make some freaking money, you guys.